So get ready to hear the untold stories and witness the true behind the scenes, unfiltered, and of course, by keeping it real on the mic. All right, welcome to Mel on the Mic. I'm super excited to introduce my good friend and my fellow healthcare provider, Mr. Dr. Brown.
Thank you. Good to see you, Mel.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
You are actually the first doctor on my podcast.
Let's go.
How do you feel about that?
I feel great. As it should be, right?
Right? I know.
We've known each other for a while now.
Yeah. So I want to catch up our listeners, and I always love doing this when I get on the podcast, going over how I met them in the beginning. And ours is kind of cool because you met me as a provider before you met me as like anything else, you know, a model or human outside of that.
Yep.
So, and the reason why I also want to bring that up is because it was super cool that you and your amazing wife decided to follow me to my dental practice.
Yeah.
What would be like a couple of reasons why?
Well, so my wife's a hygienist too. So you always have, and I grew up in dentistry. My uncles are dentists, so I've been going to the same hygienist my whole life when I lived in Atlanta. So for sure, for me with you, is as a healthcare provider myself, I'm always looking for who am I comfortable with, who exudes confidence, who exudes like they know what they're doing, but they're also just easy to talk to. And it was clear that you were knowledgeable about what you did. It was clear that you loved what you did. And so my wife got out of the hygiene business and I needed a good hygienist. So when you moved, it wasn't even a question. It was like, it's interesting, right? Because I'm not following the dentist, I'm following the hygienist.
Yeah.
Because that's the person realistically that I see the most when I go to the dentist because I don't get or need a lot of dental work. So for me, it was those things. It was a combination of just confidence, knowledge, easy to talk to. I could tell that you were chill, just like my wife, that you were our people. You know, we could tell that. So that's really why.
I love that. And I felt like, when you and your wife became my patient, I felt the same way. I'm like, you guys are my people too.
Yeah.
Like, this is fun and we can be ourselves. And I think we both have like a balance of like, you know, our healthcare careers, but also like to have fun in the fitness world and other stuff.
I think part of it too is we'd had conversations when you were at that other office just about your desires and your dreams. And so it was cool to hear that you were a dreamer and you had other things outside of hygiene that you were interested in. And so I got drawn into just all of that with your personality, that it was cool to see, hey, there's other people like us out there that dream outside of what we do every day.
Oh, I love that. Because it's funny because we don't talk about that stuff, you know?
No.
So I was like, oh, it's sweet. Dr. Brown's coming, you know?
Yeah.
I just met a doctor yesterday, and she was like, you know, the patients follow the hygienist. Like, that's just kind of what it is. And I was like, that's so cool.
It's very true.
Yeah. And by the way, Dr. Brown did my breast augmentation. Yay!
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's been how many years now?
Oh, my gosh.
It hasn't been that long. It's less than 5, right?
Like 4?
Yeah, it's got to be like 3 or 4 years.
I think it's, about 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
But, oh, my gosh.
That was a journey, right?
That was something. Well, to tell you about that story, so no one really knows this, I was never going to do this. I was never going to get a breast implant. I was terrified. I've never been put under. And then I met Dr. Brown. And I was like, okay, if I do this, it has to be with someone I trust, a good friend. And I was like, you are literally the only reason why I'm doing it because there's no other reason. Like, I was like, I'm fine. I mean, I was confident before and after, you know, but I think that for me, it's terrifying to go under and I needed to trust somebody. So
is that what held you back, was just going to sleep?
Yeah.
That's what holds most people back, which is pretty crazy to talk about for a second because if you're healthy otherwise, going under anesthesia is so safe. You know, the nightmare stuff that we hear about on social media, it's usually they were in, you know, some type of a strip mall place at a very sketchy whatever. It's very rare that you'll hear it like with a board certified physician who's going to a board certified, you know, freestanding surgery center to have things really happen to people. So I can understand that nervousness because having had surgery myself many times in the past few years, even me as a provider, I'm like, you better wake me up. To the anesthesiologist, I'm like, wake me up with all of my marbles. Like we're all scared of that, right? Because we hear these stories, but in all reality, for healthy patients, otherwise, they do great.
And I mean, I think that really is the biggest thing. Just like my girlfriends, they'll ask me those questions, like, you know, and all of our stories are different. And I'm fine about talking about mine. I was under a little bit longer because before I went under, I told Dr. Brown, please don't make me look like Super Barbie. I don't want to have my, my boobs up to my chin. And so one of my, breast tissues, it didn't fit. So he was trying to, he had to send somebody out to go get a different implant and come back in, because he made me a promise to not just throw whatever, works in that moment. So I appreciate that.
Well, it's the most challenging part of what I do is symmetry, right? Everything is about symmetry. And so what most women don't realize, and I try to point this out at the consult, is I say, hey, look with me in the mirror. Like, this fold's a little higher than this fold. So your breast sits a little higher on your chest on this side than this side. When we augment you, it's going to augment that asymmetry. We can't necessarily correct the fold all the time. And so there's just little things like size discrepancies that on the table when we put the implants in, you go, oh, crap, like I can't use the same size. I need to use two different sizes. And then when you use two different sizes, they still don't look exactly the same. And so it's a constant battle for me to try to obtain the best symmetry that I can. And I did the same thing with you that I do with everybody, is that if I sit you up in the OR and I look at you and I go, this isn't it. We do whatever it takes to get the right implant in the room to complete the job.
Yeah.
And we usually have all of the implants I need in the room, so it's not always a problem. That day, I think we had to get my rep to go grab one really quick. But it's a constant battle. And then, there was the issue of you during your healing process. I remember it was like, this one's still a little higher. Is it ever going to drop? And I kept saying, like, give it time.
Yeah.
But it took a year, right? It took almost a year before I feel like they stretched and settled the way that you wanted.
But I mean, now I'm very happy. So but the good thing is you prepped me for it.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, one may not drop, or, you may hate them when you first look at him, and remember the next day I was like, oh my gosh, take them out. I want them bigger.
What did I do?
And you're like, wait, what?
Just give them time.
Yeah. Give them time. For people listening, if you get your breast done, please be patient.
Yeah. We tell patients it takes at least 3 months for them to feel like yours again. That's how long it takes for them to stretch and drop. And before then, it's really hard to judge, because they really do change so much over the first 3 months.
Yeah, no, I agree. So what would be one of your next business goals with what you're doing now?
Oh, good question. I have a couple of things that I want to do. I'm at this place in my life, I don't think anyone prepares you for this, where I decided to go to medical school late in life, and I was a senior in college before I decided to go pre-med. So the challenge of doing it late was a big thing. Then getting into med school was a big thing. And then deciding to be a surgeon was like hard to do. And then no less trying to get into plastic surgery, which is the hardest of all the surgical specialties to get into, and then getting there. And I've been in practice for 17 years. And probably like a year or two ago, I went, wow, I want more. Like they don't prepare you for that point in life where you've accomplished all of these great things. So for me, it's a couple of things. One, I've had this desire to build this health and wellness concept into my practice, right? So the idea that, surgery should be your last resort. And I tell patients all the time, like, plastic surgery should be your last resort. There's nothing wrong with doing it. It's okay to have plastic surgery, but we want to do it when your body's in the right place to get the best result. And so I have a lot of patients who might come for a tummy tuck who aren't ready. And so I want to sort of incorporate into the practice, meal planning and macro coaching and exercise routines and teeing patients up, and mental health, right? Yeah. So maybe a patient comes in who has a mental health body image issue. And that's always going to stand in the way of them accepting and being happy with whatever I do. If that's not addressed prior to surgery, the patient's never going to be happy. And we do see that a lot. I see patients who come in that I can tell have a body image problem just from the way they talk in the office at the consultations. I can tell that it's not just them wanting a certain procedure. They really have a hang up. And so I want to incorporate all of that where we can sort of streamline and figure out, hey, this person needs to go down this limb of the practice first. Let's get them teed up so that their bodies are in the best place to get the best results, so that when they do have their surgery, now they're going to have a long-lasting result because they have all of the lifestyle changes in place to now maintain the results. So that's one future business thing. The other side is I've really had this strong pull for the past couple of years to do something more at scale to help people. And I have, it's really hard to do that as a surgeon where I could just do one surgery at a time. The max, I cap out at how much surgery I can do in a week. And I want to affect people more massively at scale. So I'm starting to explore opportunities now that might bring me into the corporate side of medicine to help with developing and producing things and concepts that will help people at scale. So those are two limbs and two things that I'm working on. And one is to grow my current business. And the other one is to step outside of maybe surgery in the OR into the corporate medical world.
Yeah.
And work with VC firms and companies to really help develop products or processes that help people more at scale. Because that's really ultimately where I want to go.
And I feel like we talked about this at your last dental visit.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, where we were just like, we love what we do, but we hit like our, not our max, but we're just like, hey, we reached all our goals. Like we want something bigger.
Yep.
We want another goal. We want to be better in what we do. Or how can we be more of an impact for our patients or people outside of that? And so I remember we were talking about that. So I was like, this is cool though. I love that for you.
Yeah, and it's not that we get bored. I think people think like, are you just bored?
Oh.
No, I think you start to master your craft.
Yeah.
And what became something that wasn't unconscious, it was very conscious for years, right? Being a surgeon was very conscious, like paying attention, doing a good job, building the practice. So many of those things occur unconsciously now that we just need to be challenged in different ways. So I think as we are in healthcare, we just want to do more. Yeah. And I think it's not just healthcare, but many people are that way in other businesses too.
And I love that. And I'm like such a science nerd. Like one of my patients came to me with like a rare disease. And I was like, honestly, I don't know much about it. And I went home and I researched and I studied. She came back in and I gave her just my personal feedback, like try this, try that. When you get dental treatment, don't use epinephrine. Maybe it's this. And so I just ran into her sister last week and she's like, hey, my sister wanted to tell you, thank you. Everything you recommended is actually helping. And she's actually out of pain now. Now, okay, I'm not a doctor. I'm not anything close to that. I have so much respect for doctors and outside of that. But for me, it's like, why can't I research it and figure it out and help my patients?
Yeah.
My whole point of being in healthcare is to help my patients. And so I think that's also something I want to do is more like educating, which I know you educate like all the time. By the way, Dr. Brown's Instagram is so much freaking fun. Like you're educating, but it's like fun.
Yeah, I try to make it fun. I mean, it's learning how to educate and to curve the story so that the common person understands a complicated medical topic is really hard to do.
Yeah.
It's something I do and I think you do unconsciously now too. Like I just know how to recraft a story about something I'm trying to tell people on Instagram in a much more, okay, let me break this down to how people are going to understand it. And I think it's a skill it can be hard to develop.
And that's so important because if you talk in doctor terms, you know what's going to happen? They're going to swipe.
No one knows. When you start using the big words, they're like, okay, I'm gone.
Yeah. Okay, what do you think the key is to staying young, healthy, and happy?
Okay, so in my personal opinion, fitness is not important to a lot of people. A lot of people don't take their fitness and their health seriously.
True.
And I don't know why. I understand there's food addiction. I understand, we all come different strokes for different folks. We grow up a different way. I think for people to maintain health in their life, they have to, one, have personal time to themselves and things that they do in this world that they enjoy. Mm-hmm. Number two, you need to spend time treating your body like a temple. Yeah. I work out almost every day. I'm doing something. I eat healthy 80 to 90% of the time. I put things in my body that make me feel good. Yeah. When you feel good in your body, you're at your best in all other aspects of your life. So to me, I think it's number one, not sweating the big stuff. Yeah. Two, taking care of your body, putting good things into your body so that you can feel the best every single day when you get out of bed is going to help you live a healthier, happy life. And then of course, there's all the things like tuning out social media. Don't listen to the noise. Comparison is the thief of joy sometimes. Like, not letting yourself get caught up in the small details of life. Like I know people that politically cannot turn it off. I hardly watch the news and I hardly engage in politics. That doesn't mean that off the screen or off the script, I'm not paying attention to what's going on in the world. But if you allow that to drag you down and it becomes your everything, everyday existence, that you're angry about what the government's doing or what's happening, it's so hard to be happy because that stuff is never going away.
No, and
Ever.
shut the news off sometimes.
Oh, God,
Honestly,
yeah.
I hate to say that, but it's
We don't
like,
watch it.
I don't watch it either. It's draining. The second I like notice it's draining my energy, and I'm like my emotions start to fill up and down. I'm like, wait, shut it off.
Yep.
To put something else on. But I love that you brought that up, though.
It's so important. You have to surround yourself with the things that you enjoy, that bring you joy, that give you happiness. And so when you're surrounding yourself with controversial stuff all the time, you feel controversial all the time. Your body's just never in alignment, I feel like, when you allow yourself to feel all of that turmoil that's happening. So for me, it's the peaceful working out every day, trying to eat good food, spending time with Alexis and the boys, and being with my family. And those are my people. Like, those are the people I want to be around with. And if you don't have a family, with the friends that you love that are near and dear to you, you know?
And then back to your fitness life, though. I mean, first off, you and Alexis, his wife, absolutely amazing. The most fit people ever. But like, have you always been into fitness? Did this start like, when you were a teenager, your adult life? Like,
Yeah, to a degree. So I played sports forever. So I was always tennis, baseball, basketball. I played all the things. Baseball became my thing. I wasn't really lifting so much in high school. I lifted a little bit, and I did a little bit of running in high school. And then when I went away to college, I started lifting weights a little more and kind of caring about fitness. Med school was a whole different journey. I was not so fit in med school. In med school, I did work out, and I ran marathons during my training, which was crazy. I ran 5 marathons when I lived in Chicago.
That's crazy.
I ran the Chicago Marathon 5 times, and what happened was I realized that I was getting unhealthy, and so I joined a Roadrunner club, and I said, you know what? I've always wanted to run one. I'm going to run one, and then that became my every year was like, I'm going to train to run a marathon. So I've always had fitness in my life, but it wasn't until we moved here to Arizona. Alexis was pregnant with the boys, the twins, and I was really overweight. I mean, I was fat. I can say that about myself. I was fat. I was 200 pounds.
Yeah.
And the joke is I always say 199. Like, I never tipped 200. She's like, yeah, you were 200 pounds.
Round up.
So I was 200 pounds, and just the idea that 2 boys were on their way to our world, and I wanted to be a fit father, and I just finished residency and was starting my practice. I was like, it's time to like better get off the pot.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's time for me to take this seriously. So that was the time in like 2009 when I really started to dial in my health. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, in the beginning, Mel, it wasn't very healthy. I was doing Weight Watchers, and then I kind of did Medifast, and I got so skinny that wasn't healthy, right? So there's heavy overweight, not healthy. There's too skinny, not healthy. I didn't really have any muscle mass. And that's when I found CrossFit. And when I found CrossFit in like 2012 or 2013, that's when I truly found my balance between eating well, building muscle, moving my body. And that is the point at which everything kind of changed for me.
And then why CrossFit? What made you try that?
So I love cardio. I like sweating and running and moving, right? The marathon thing. Like, I enjoy that aspect.
Yeah.
But I also like lifting weights. And for me, CrossFit kind of marries the two things.
That's true.
You get to do high intensity training, and you get to move a barbell and lift weights and get strong. The other thing I loved about CrossFit was I didn't want to walk into the gym and have to decide, what am I doing today? Arms, back, what rep scheme, what movements? Like, you just show up and do it. So in the beginning, CrossFit was like a 5-day-a-week thing for me. And I realized after a few years of that as I got older, that wasn't going to jive with my body.
No.
So I only do it 2 to 3 days a week now. I do jujitsu a few days a week, and then we hike a little bit, and we're just active outside. But CrossFit is still a love of mine, and it's because I just love being around other people that suffer in the same way that I suffer. And I like just getting after it in there, because those people push me to go a little bit harder when I'm there with them.
Which is what you need, because I love
Totally.
I have a trainer every morning, and there's 4 girls, and like just this morning we were working out, and one girl was trying to get her last rep. We're like, get it, girl, get it. And then she did, and the trainer is like, that's only because everyone was cheering you on.
The
like,
cheerleaders.
It is a mental thing, and it gets you going.
Huge.
And so I'm like, I just love that. I love that energy. So
It's a good vibe.
I feel you on that.
That's awesome.
Okay, so we're not experts on this, but what do you believe can help you, or more so prevent you from getting cancer one day?
Well, there's a lot of things, and we just sort of talked about a lot of them. Of course, we can stay away from smoking, and I don't drink anymore. I mean, we used to be heavy drinkers, and I don't drink alcohol anymore. And I think alcohol is poisonous to every cell in your body, and it really does. It serves people zero, right? You get nothing beneficial out of it.
Right.
So I think that's a big one. If you can cut down on alcohol or cut out alcohol, that's a big one. And I think that just the types of foods that we eat, trying to get away from all of the ultra processed things in this world today, it can be very difficult on social media to navigate how you should be eating. And I try to always tell people, like, just go back to the basics. Cook your chicken, cook some meat, eat some vegetables, have some fruits, some nuts and seeds, like the Mediterranean kind of diet. And if we get away from a lot of the ultra processed stuff, I think you're going to see and note that cancer is a lot lower in patients who really take care of their bodies.
No, I agree. And I've been reading into that lately, on my little side things I like to research. But yeah, no, it's that. And then along with stress and all these things. And I'm like, wait a minute, we can prevent this. I'm a big believer that even if you start to get cancer, like you can naturally get rid of it too, which goes back to, I think our bodies are amazing.
They are.
They can cure everything.
Totally.
Goes back to like the stem cells and everything that we're already starting to figure out now.
Yep. When we know tumor cells love sugar, right? So a lot of patients who get diagnosed really stop eating refined sugar and even fruit too.
Yeah.
So there's definitely biohacking things that we can do to help. And look, life is also about luck. There's just like, I met this I think she was like 97 or 98-year-old at my parents in their building in Atlanta. And she was totally full clarity, like had a walker, but was talking. And she said that. She was like, I've always worked out my whole life. I've always tried to eat really healthy. She goes, and you need a little bit of luck to get this far. And you do. You need luck. Like some of it is luck. It's your genes, your exposure, your environmental exposures, where you live. Some of that plays a role. But, people say, well, I'm going to die one day, so I may as well do X, Y, Z. I'm like, well, you maybe will die a lot later and feel a lot better in your body under the alive curve if you live a healthier life. I mean, health span is everything, right? Absolutely. It's the time that we're living under the curve. We want that to be healthy, feel good time, not sick, die.
Yep.
You want to be healthy, die.
Yep.
That's the way.
And your kids are watching you too. So like if you're parents out there, like your kids watch your eating habits, like what you do, like growing up, like we weren't allowed to have soda or sugar. Like if we had soda, it was at like someone's birthday party at Peter Piper. And because we didn't have like caffeine, oh my God, well, my poor parents, we were so hyper. But like we only had it every great once in a while. And like we just like, that's how I was through like, high school, and college. And I mean, even now I don't really drink soda or eat a lot of sweets. It's like a dessert or like, you know, you get a cheat day.
It's crazy. I did have all that growing up. Like it was chips, Little Debbie's. Like remember the fat-free era, like of all the Little Debbie rolls and the Nutter Butter bars and cereal. Like I ate all of that growing up, and I don't know how my mom brought that stuff home. I don't think we were so self-conscious about food back then, but I did realize like through high school, I kind of ate that way. And it wasn't until I was an adult that I realized like, oh, all this stuff is horrible for your body. But to your point, I mean, one of my favorite quotes ever with respect to children is more is caught than taught. You can tell kids until they are blue in the face, eat this way, do this way, move your body, and none of it is going to resonate as much as mom and dad go to the gym every morning at 6 a.m. Mom and dad are eating healthy foods. Wow, mom and dad are always going out on a walk. Mom and dad don't drink alcohol. Kids see that stuff and they emulate who we are. So I think that is probably one of the most important lessons that I could tell anyone who's raising younger kids is more is caught than taught. If you don't take care of yourself, why would they take care of themselves?
Yeah, no, that's so true.
So they see what you do, and our boys just hit 75 hard with us.
I love that.
They're 16 and they did the whole program and didn't miss a day.
Yeah. See, that's what I want. When I have my own kids, I love my stepkids, but when I have my own kids, like I want to do stuff like that.
Yeah, you will.
Amazing goal.
And it only happened because they've seen the way that Alexis and I live. It was the fourth time that Alexis and I have done it, and they jumped in on it this time.
Good.
They were like, "Can we do this with you?" And we were like, "Yeah." One of the girls from jiu-jitsu was doing it with us, so I think they were like, "We need to do it too."
Okay, they're all right. We'll do it now.
But in their own right, they jumped in and they were like, they drank their gallon by like 5 or 6 a.m. every day. They read at 4:30 or to 5 in the morning. They would get up and read their 10 pages. They would go for a walk every day or do gym at school, go to jujitsu. Like they were like totally regimented the whole time.
You guys are the coolest parents.
Oh,
no, really.
thanks.
I tell Alexis all the time. I'm like, you guys are the coolest freaking parents.
Just normal people.
Okay, so let's talk about Alexis. How did you meet your amazing wife?
So Alexis and I met on a dating service.
Really?
Yep. I was in Chicago at the time in my general surgery residency, and I was about to go into a lab research year between my 3rd year of general surgery and my 4th year of general surgery. And right around that time, remember Match.com?
Yes.
Well, there's the Jewish version of Match.com. It was called JDate. I think Match owned JDate.
Wait, J-Day?
JDate, like a Jewish dating. It was like a Match.com for Jewish people, right? So like the funny thing is I'm not very religious at all. I just never have been. Religion's not been a huge part of my life. Alexis is Jewish, I'm Jewish, but both of us have never made it like a huge part of our life where we need this to explain and live and to get through life. But that said, Jewish moms are insane about your kids marrying other Jewish kids, right?
Yeah.
So I met her on JDate. Like I was on JDate, but wasn't really going out with people. It was more to appease my parents. And one day I was in the hospital on night call. And one of the ER doctors, who was a Jewish guy, was like, hey, they were on the trauma service with us. He was like, hey, I see you're on JDate. Like, can we get on there and look at some people? And I was like, sure. Like, okay. So we get online. I'm like, should we just like see if there's like cool Jewish girls in Australia? Like, let's just like, we were just messing around, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, what about Vegas? I bet you there's some cool girls in Vegas, right? So, which is funny because I'm not even a gambler and I don't like any of that stuff. But so we were perusing through people in Las Vegas and I saw her picture and I was like, oh, that girl's cute. And I didn't really think anything of it. I was like, wow, let me click on her profile, checked her out. I was like, oh, dental hygienist, that's cool, you know?
Yeah.
And I moved on. And like 2 days later, she sent me a message and said, hey, I saw that you looked at my profile. I just thought I would say hi. And I was like, oh, snap, that's cool. I was like, all right, she's cool. So I responded to her and she didn't answer for like 3 or 4 days. I was like, that's weird. Like, why would she message me like that and then not message me back? It turns out she was at a dental hygiene conference and she did at that time. This was in like probably 2000, early 2000s. Like we really didn't have, cell phones were kind of just kicking off there and we didn't have, the iPhone was just coming out, you know, we didn't have all that. It was like computer communicate. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
So long story short, she ends up messaging me back. We talk on the phone for like 4 hours one night. I was going on a skiing trip when I was in my lab research year. And at the end of that trip, I was like, hey, I'd love to come out and meet you. I'd already been talking to her for like a month or so. So I flew to Las Vegas to meet her.
What?
Yeah, and she got me.
Your first date?
Our first date was her picking me up at the airport. She was like, because she was working for her dad, who's a dentist in Las Vegas. She was like, we know people in the industry. I'll get you a hotel room. You'll have a nice suite. You can stay there. We'll connect. We'll hang out for the weekend, right? So the moment I met her, I was like, because at that time I was 33 and I was kind of ready and looking for that person.
Yeah.
And she was younger. She's 7 years younger than me. But I kind of met her and literally it was one of those moments where I met her and I was like, all right, this is the one. Like all I needed at that point was to see her in person because we had already been talking. We knew who we were. Yeah. So that's the rest is history. So we got engaged like a year after that. We dated long distance for a year. So we kind of flew back and forth between Chicago and Las Vegas for that year just to kind of see where things would go. And everything just kind of came to fruition. And after a year, I proposed in Las Vegas.
You're like, okay, you're a keeper.
Yeah.
I did not know that story.
Yeah,
That's
it's a crazy
so cool,
story.
Though. You got on a freaking plane and flew out to see.
Yeah. I literally got off the plane from like Snowmass at O'Hare, went to another gate to get on a plane to Las Vegas, and that's how I ended up going to meet her. So one of the guys that I lived with in medical school, he and I always kind of liked the same girl. Like we were always interested in the same type of a girl.
Yeah.
And so when he called me one day, he's like, hey man, how's JDate going? I've been on there too. I've been out with a few girls, cool girls. I'm like, actually man, I met this really cool girl. She's from Las Vegas. She's a dental hygienist. And he's like, Ricky, stop. I'm like, what, dude? He goes, is her name Alexis? And I was like, yes.
Oh, God.
He's like, dude, I've talked to her before, like on J-Date. Like I've had some conversations with her. They'd never met, they'd never gone out, but it was just so uncannily funny.
Same type of
He was
girl.
living in LA, he's an OBGYN, I'm in Chicago, and we're both still interested in the same person.
So crazy.
So he was like, yeah, I think I'm going to pull back, bro. It sounds like you're like way deeper into this with her, but that's really cool. She seems like a cool girl.
You're like, she's off limits. Sorry,
Yeah.
bro.
It was pretty funny.
Okay, so let's talk about your burn story and why it is so important to bring up. Well, I'll let you go into it about the propane and everything.
Yeah. 2 summers ago. So this August will be two summers. So we have a flat top grill in the backyard, and it's in a built-in island, a stucco, probably cinder block kind of an island. And there's a propane tank underneath it. And a flat top grill, you know, we had just gotten this flat top grill because we wanted to make smash burgers. It was that whole thing. There's a very small space between the grill and the burner. And when I lit the grill, it sounded like it had lit. And I kind of was waiting a few minutes, and it was the middle of the summer, kind of walked away, came back, felt the top, and it was hot. And I thought it was from it being lit. And my wife kind of peeked out. She's like, "Are you about to start grilling?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "It smells kind of funny out here." And I was like, "Oh my God, the grill's not lit. That's gas. Holy shit." I'm like, okay. So I turned everything off.
Yeah.
Thinking that that little space was where it was collecting.
Yeah.
And that it would all just kind of air out.
Yeah.
Well, propane gas is heavy, so it sinks. So what I didn't know was the entire island was filling with propane. So it was a bomb.
Oh,
And there were no vents in the island. There's supposed to be cut vents in the island.
right.
And there were no vents. This is all hindsight stuff, right?
Yeah.
So there were 2 metal doors kind of by my legs where the tank lived underneath. And there was nothing wrong with the tank. The gas was just siphoning into the huge island that was out there. So I walked away for about 5 or 10 minutes thinking, oh, the gas will just dissipate, and then I'll go back and relight the grill and everything will be fine. When I went back to light the grill, it exploded into my legs. The metal doors flew open. Huge fireball straight into my legs. Kind of got the back of my arm a little bit. Singed my shorts all the way up to the waist on my right leg. And then, you know, burned my legs, if people can see. Like, that's the loss of pigmentation that I have in my legs. So long story short, the tank didn't blow. If the tank had blown up, I probably wouldn't be sitting here. There's a good chance I wouldn't have made it.
Thank God.
Or would be probably over 90% burns.
Yeah.
Luckily, it just got me from below the knees. So the moral of the story there is, number one, if you have an island outside with a contained propane tank, it must be vented.
Yeah.
You have to have vents cut into your island because that would have dissipated out and it never would have happened. Number two, you really should have your tanks out in the open, because if there is a leak in the tube or something like that, you don't want it collecting into a closed space when you light your grill. Because I'm sure everyone's had a moment where they've lit their grill and poof, singed their eyebrows, right? It's that kind of a scenario. So you really need vented, and really, truthfully, propane tanks should not be in a contained area when you're grilling. It should be open to air.
Yeah. No, it scares me because James actually, that's happened to his, well, eyelashes and eyebrows.
Yep.
And so when I heard your story, I'm like, wait, honey, you need to be careful because like this can actually happen.
Yep, it's real. The firefighters that came to our house were like, dude, you have no idea how many calls we go on for this stuff.
Really?
All the time. They're like, we get grill explosions all the time. It's a huge deal. And, you know, I was in the burn unit for 2 days, and it was a very trying time in my life going from, I've been a patient, I've had surgery. This was different. I was a patient in a burn unit, and I used to do burns for a living. I used to take care of burn patients. I've taken care of the 90% burns. Like, I knew what was happening.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting becoming a patient on that side of the spectrum.
How would you explain the pain you went through? Like, did you go into shock or?
When it first happened, I went and got in the swimming pool because I had that knowledge, right? Cool off the tissue really fast because it will continue to burn. So as soon as it happened, I looked down and the skin was like all singed off my legs. I was like,
Wow.
crap, this is real. So I walked over and got in the pool. When I got out of the pool, it was just because when the epidermis gets stripped off, the dermis is where all the nerves are, and you just have all these exposed nerve endings. So the heat of the air just made my legs feel like they were on fire. And I remember going to the ER that night was just, it was so uncomfortable because the heat, once they covered them and got them in dressings, it was okay. It still hurt.
Yeah.
But if for sure, I have a high pain tolerance, and Alexis could probably tell you stories. I won't say I wasn't in pain.
Yeah.
It definitely hurt, but it was a very, very rough time. It was tough for about 10, 12 days.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
I just told you, like, my girls went through that recently.
Yes. How are they?
So they're doing better. I check on, well, they're public about it, so I'll give names out. But yeah, Kylie and Janie, we were Monster Girls together.
Yeah.
And yeah, Janie is still in the hospital, but she, I check her stories every day. Her husband is truly amazing. Like, he's posting updates all the time, and really, she's a fighter, and she's learning, like, she's going through physical therapy, learning how to walk. And so, I mean, props to people that go through that, because I could not imagine.
Yeah, my heart goes out to her. When you told me that story, it really hit home, because I was like, I know exactly what she's going through. And, my wife took care of me. She changed my dressings every day, and I'm sure her husband's taking care of her. Like, without having someone like that, it's rough. It makes you really feel for people who don't have somebody to help them.
Ugh. Okay, what is one of your biggest life lessons? If you're like me, I'm like, I have so many, but
yeah, so many life lessons. What's one of my biggest life lessons? So, it's really, really easy to allow people's opinions of you to affect you. If I had one major life lesson for people, shut out what everyone else thinks about you. And if you're a good human being trying to do good things, just do you.
Yep.
Don't worry about anyone else. You do you. There is always going to be someone who has something bad or negative to say about you, especially if you're succeeding, right? When you're succeeding is when all the wolves come out. Yeah. But a life lesson for people, I really, really believe that you have to learn to get into the mindset to not really care about what everyone else thinks about what you're doing. If what you're doing is realistic and real, and it's good, and you're doing good, just do you.
I couldn't agree more. And I think, like, just self-love too. Like, learn to love yourself first.
Yes.
Do what makes you happy. And as long as, like you said, you're a good person, and you're not hurting others, like, then just do it.
Yeah, to your point, I would get affected by social media comments for a long time in the beginning. But what I would always come back to is when I'm at home and I look in the mirror, I know that I am a good human being. I know that I care about people. I know that I treat people well. I know that I have a love for humans to take care of them and do the best thing I can for them, whether you're a friend or a patient. As long as I know that that's who I am at my core, no one can ever take that from me. I know who I am, and I know what I represent, and I know what my beliefs and my values are. So it doesn't matter what someone behind a keyboard says to you who doesn't know you.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest thing is, like you said, belief in yourself, and don't sweat everyone else. As long as you know that you're a good person, you're good to go. But if you know you're not a good person, then you can change that too.
Yeah. I mean, we've all, have hit rock bottom and maybe have been, like, not the best versions of ourselves, but, like, recognize that and make changes. That's not who you are forever.
No. And we can always change. Like, we're in evolution for our entire lives. From the day you're born to the day you die, you are not the same.
Yeah.
You are changing. You are fluid the whole way through. There are things that I still learn now about myself that make me a better human than I was yesterday.
No, same. And I keep telling people about this 2-year journey that I've started, but it's like, I have never felt in such a better place than I do now, with, like, where I am, like, mentally, physically, with the people that are in my circle. And, like, to your point with the, the comments, like, that used to beat me up to the point where I removed comments off my Instagram at one point. But then I was like, you know what? I know I'm a good person, and, like, people looking in, they just assume things, or, I know maybe I wasn't, like, the best version of myself, like, 5 years ago, maybe at one point in my life, but, like, that's not who I am today. So, but people commenting, like, negative things, I don't know. It doesn't bug me as much anymore. And honestly, I don't even get it anymore.
Neither. I don't get a lot of hate on my page. I mean, and if I do, I don't know. I just ignore it now. It rolls off my shoulder now because I'm like, this person doesn't know me. Like, am I going to try to have a rational conversation with an irrational person? And half the time it's maybe a bot. It's not even real, but
That's so true.
you know what I'm saying? Like half the time you're arguing with something that's probably not even real.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
And you guys don't comment things. Like everyone has feelings, you know, whether they're celebrities, doctors, everyday people, whoever it is, like we all have feelings and emotions.
Yeah.
What the heck, man, you know? Because I'll see things like people that I even know will leave comments on other brands, but I'm actually friends with that brand. And I'm like, wait, that was hurtful. Why are you leaving comments? Like, she's going to see it.
And the problem is reading your comments can be fun sometimes because the good positive comments you get and then people ask questions that you want to answer. When the comments are a good vibe, you want to engage on your post. You want to help people. This is what I'm here for. I'm giving you free information and I want to help you get whatever it is that you need from me to do whatever it is you're trying to do. But when people start dumping hateful comments, it makes you not want to read them because Rogan says it all the time. Like, why would you do that? Why do you read your comments? I don't read my comments. I'm like, that's the problem when all of those comments start to creep into your videos. It makes you not even want to go see the good comments anymore. Yeah, that's what's so hurtful, I think, as a creator is that we want to help people. Most of us are out for good intentions. Yeah. To like this podcasting, having good topics that help people. Yeah. Someone's going to take something good away from this that's going to change their life. Right. That's what we're here for. And when the comments are hateful, it's just so hard to want to stick around to read them.
I know.
But I can't imagine you get much hate.
Not anymore.
I don't.
Not anymore. No.
Women are tough.
Women on women, they're rough.
Women are
tough.
They're
so tough, and they, you know. But what I realize is that women, and I'm sure there's men as well out there that do this, but when they're insecure with themselves and their bodies or their image, they express that and take that out on other women. And I've noticed that a lot. And I've realized that years ago, I would get DMs, you know, like I would go to church and post on my Mal Alicia because that was like, I had the biggest following on there, but I wanted to like, you know, hey, like I go to church, like maybe if you're in a bad place, like go to church. I was trying to like, you know, and I did it on that one because I had a bigger reach. But then you'd get someone from church to be like, how dare you? You're such a hypocrite. Look at your bikini photo. I'm like, that was a photo shoot. Like, how about, you know, hey girl, it's cool to see you. You know, we go to the same church, you know, like that's awesome. Or maybe you're working on something or growth or self-growth or whatever it is. But instead you just, you know, I was getting like attacked.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I hate to say this, but sometimes the worst hypocrites are people that sometimes go to church. I'm like, stop. Like before you comment and judge people, think twice about it because maybe they're starting this new journey or whatever it is, you know? So.
And 90% of the time, like you said, it's an internal them problem. Most of the time it's internal them problems. It's either jealousy for some reason, judgmental on other people. It's usually an internal problem when you're being judged. Yeah. Most of the time.
So thank God for close friends now because I can put all my personal fun stuff on that now.
Yeah. Your girl gang.
My girl gang. Okay. What are 3 things you cannot live without?
My wife.
That's a good one.
Obviously, I would say I'll lump my wife and kids.
Okay.
Right, because they're one and the same.
Yeah, that's your family.
Fitness.
Yeah.
I have to have fitness.
Me too.
Fitness is so huge for me. It is my therapy.
I was just gonna say that.
It is so my therapy. I never understand people that can't stand working out. And it's probably because it's hard in the beginning for a lot of people and they don't like that uncomfortable feeling. Yeah. Once you get comfortable being uncomfortable and learning how to exercise and you reap the benefits of the weight loss and then you start to feel good in your body, then I crave that pain, you know? So that was always strange to me where people don't like working out. So my wife, my kids, my family, exercise is really hugely important to me. What else can I not live without? Is it a type of food?
That's so funny. That's like what I think of.
I would say pizza. I love pizza.
Pizza's the best.
I can't live without pizza, man. I as healthy as I am, I gotta have pizza.
You deserve pizza. You work out, you eat healthy, you deserve a cheat day.
You'd be amazed. Alexis and I, we eat off the rails quite a bit. You know, we tried it. We try to keep it 80-20, but like there and this is important for people to hear. This didn't happen overnight. And you get to a place in your fitness and health journey where you're so on point that it's okay to fall off the wagon now and again. That's the whole goal, right?
Yeah.
Is you can still delve and enjoy certain things that you like. It's just you just don't do it every day, right?
Totally.
And that's why you stay the way you are, is by not doing it every day. But man, there are times where I've yo-yoed on this journey where I'm healthy, eating crappy for a long time, not feeling good, jumping back on healthy. And this is probably the longest stretch I've ever had of really good balance for like the past probably 12 years.
And I feel like, back to what you were saying with that is my favorite therapy with that. And then, because then at the end of the day, with working out and then going and then being able to enjoy pizza, I'm like, I'm allowed to eat the pizza because I work out every single freaking day. And it's, your body recognizes it, like it needs to get rid of it anyways, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean. But like, it's fine. It's not like like you, back to what you were saying, you don't eat it every single day.
Yeah, and it's more about like we don't work out to earn our food, right? That's an unhealthy habit that people get into.
Yeah.
We don't work out to earn our food, but because we work out consistently every day or 5 days a week, and we eat well most of the time, it's okay to do the
Yeah.
other things too.
Yep.
And I don't do it because I work out, but because I work out, I can do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because I'm consistent and I have a consistent lifestyle, it's okay to have a little sweets and a little pizza. And I will tell you, on 75 Hard this last time, usually when we're done with 75 Hard, I kind of go back and start having some sugar.
Yeah.
I haven't touched it since we ended a couple weeks ago.
Oh.
And I will tell you, cutting sugar, like refined sugar, I still eat fruits and vegetables, all that stuff. Cutting out like processed sugar has made the biggest change in the way that I feel of anything that I've done. I truly have never been able to say this. I do feel less inflamed.
Really?
Yeah, sugar is the devil. I love it, but
hear
I
that all the
swear,
time.
I'm telling you, try a 21-day no added sugar thing. And I know you say like, I need to have sweets,
Yeah.
What happens is you stop craving them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever seen this, but there is a picture of an MRI, and they looked at where the brain pleasure center lights up when a person has cocaine
Okay.
and where the pleasure centers light up when a person has sugar. They light up the exact same center. It's the exact same pleasure center in the brain. So it's really interesting that because we're kind of quote addicted to sugar. We are, right? Like we crave it. You eat it and you're like, God, that tastes so good.
Yeah.
I want more of that because it's hitting that same pleasure center.
Yeah. No, that makes
But once you cut it and you get rid of it, I've noticed, I look at a donut now and I'm like, that donut looks really good. Whereas before I'm like, that donut looks good and I am totally having a bite of that donut.
Can't control yourself.
Yeah, now I'm more like, I could take it or leave it.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that just happens over time.
Yeah. No, that's so true. That happened to me with alcohol. One time we went 100 days sober, and I could not stand even the smell of tequila, which was crazy for me. And I felt like that was the most fit I've ever looked and the most energy I've ever had. And I just felt good. I had so much energy, and everyone's like, "What's your secret?" I'm like, I'm just not drinking. But also when I'm not drinking, I'm not eating as bad.
Well, and we
So-
don't drink our calories, right? I mean, like when you drink alcohol, it's heavy on the calories. And
Yeah.
when people are trying to get fit and in shape, I think that's probably the biggest nemesis for people who are trying to get fit and get in shape and take control of their life.
Yeah.
They have to have their cocktail every night. They have to have their drink every day, whatever that is. When you cut alcohol, when you're trying to get fit, it happens so much faster.
Yeah. I was listening to this audiobook, and I want to know your thoughts on this, but pretty much it was talking about rewiring your brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I used to be guilty of this. You know, I would have a long day at work. I would come home, and I'm like, gosh, you know what I need? I need a big glass of wine because that is what's going to make everything better,
Mm-hmm.
which there's nothing wrong with that if, whoever drinks wine at night. But for me personally, like my brain was wired that I need to drink red wine to feel better. So I would drink it, and I would, like, oh, now I feel better, numb whatever I was feeling. But then I was like, wait, like I don't need to do that. So one time I came home and I was craving red wine, like craving it, and I didn't drink it. And it took a lot of willpower because I had some red wine in the house. But then I kept doing that. every time I would come home, don't drink it, don't drink it. And it was like my brain was it was like on a time clock. Like at this time, you crave it, you drink it. And that's what you're supposed to do. And I rewired my brain to not drink red wine or make my body feel like I needed that to numb whatever I was going through, even if it was just like stress from work.
Yeah.
And then to the point where I actually didn't crave it anymore.
It's the same thing with sugar. It's neuroplasticity. So neuroplasticity is that we make new nerve connections in our brain for different pathways, and it happens mostly when kids are really young, newborns, and a little bit later into when they're born. But the neuroplasticity of their brains, like they learn things really fast, or all their patterns are making connections. It's the same thing. You just kind of are in that pattern of your brain was wired that I need wine to de-stress me. I need wine to make me happy. I need wine for this reason. And a lot of people do that. And that's one of my problems with society, is that it's become so accepted to overconsume alcohol. And again, I'm not mad at people if they want to drink. Like you do you, boo.
Yeah.
Like it's okay.
Yeah.
You do what you want to do. But I'm just telling you, there is nothing good about alcohol. And when everyone thinks they need it to solve a certain problem, go out on a 45-minute walk with your spouse, your wife, your partner, whoever, instead of picking up that glass of wine. Like get outside and go do something that really like gets your endorphins going and gets your energy going. When you really trade those things, you really realize all I'm doing is pacifying whatever's going on with a glass of wine.
Yeah.
And just pacify it in a different way.
And I was guilty of that. And
We all were.
I didn't even realize that.
Look, partied my tail off in college. We drank in high school.
Yeah.
We drank in college. I mean, we partied, right? In med school, like probably partied harder than I did anywhere else. Yeah. Like people are like, what? When we weren't studying, we were having fun because we were studying 98% of the time. But, it like I said, one day I woke up and I realized like, this doesn't serve me anymore. I want to get up and work out and feel good in my body. And I feel like crap when I have drinks. Alcohol is a depressive substance. It is a depressant to the body, and people don't realize that while you think you're feeling good because you're numb and you feel drunk, it's a depressive substance to everything in your body. And it just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a revelation for me.
I'm happy you're on the same page because same. Hey, what's up, guys? I would love to do a mic mention actually on my own brand, which is called Ice by Mel RDH. It is my own product. It's an electric toothbrush. I do have other hygiene products on my website at melrdh.com. I've been a dental hygienist for over 10 years. I know it's kind of weird. It's another life of mine, but I truly do believe in health. I 100% believe your oral cavity is a portal to your body. So I want my patients, not just my patients, but everyone in the world to stay healthy. So I created a product to actually clean the plaque off your teeth. So please give it a shot, melrdh.com. If you follow my Instagram, I will leave a little code so you guys can get your $25 gift card. But overall, wanted to jump on the mic to do a mic mention. I appreciate everybody supporting my product, seeing me as their dental hygienist, and healthy looks good on you guys. Stay healthy. Okay, who is maybe one of the coolest celebrities or a well-known person that you have ever met, or I don't know, something along those lines?
I gotta think back to celebrities that I've met, and I know I've met a few. Oh gosh, on the spot.
I know it's hard. Like if you were to ask me that, the coolest one though, I'm like, there's so many awesome people.
And I know like my sister's probably going, Dodo, you met so and so. I'm trying to think like, have I met any big time celebrities? I don't know. Like, no, we didn't get to actually meet Gary Vee. We went to Gary Vee a couple weeks ago. I wish I could have met him because he's amazing.
Yeah.
I have to think about that one.
Yeah, we can come back to that one.
Yeah.
Or well-known people.
Okay.
Come back to that one. Okay, if you could go anywhere in this world, where would it be? And it was fully paid for.
Ooh. I mean, Australia will be easy, right? I could say that because we haven't been to Australia and New Zealand. So I definitely want to do that. But we could get there, like if it was fully paid, like where's a tough place, like a place that I would want to go? I don't know though. Australia's been on the list for a really long time.
Why?
I want to. Yeah, I mean Australia is a big one. The
Yeah.
Australia New Zealand thing, I would love to go do that. So if we had a fully paid full ride, I think it'd be really cool to go there for a couple of weeks and just experience
Oh,
their
yeah.
country. I think that would be amazing.
And that flight's expensive. So if it's like fully
Heck
paid
yeah.
for-
I was going to say Japan too, because Japan's going to be a killer trip. I want to do that sometime. But
Yeah.
definitely like New Zealand, Australia,
Yeah.
that section of the world looks amazing to me.
I've been once to Australia, and it was like the longest flight I've
Ugh.
ever been
It
on.
makes me so nervous.
But it's so worth it.
Is it 24 hours almost?
I think it was like ours was like
We were going to-
19, 20.
Yeah, it's something like that.
It was. I mean, it was a long flight, and then just know like when you get there, you need like a day or two to, get moving again. But
Yeah.
no, it's worth it for sure. Okay, what's something you must do before you die?
The tough questions today, Mel.
I know you're like I told you I want to go to Australia.
The tough questions.
And it could be anything like skydiving, swimming with sharks.
So I've been skydiving.
You've been skydiving?
hmm
Wait, when?
I jumped out of a plane when I was in college with my sister.
That's so cool.
It was really cool. It's it's funny, like I look at bungee jumping and I'm like, oh my God, that freaks me out. But jumping out of a plane, I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
No, it was an amazing experience. It was incredible. But what's something that I have to do before I die? Ooh, man. I should have a bucket list full of things. I haven't thought about my bucket list like lately, but what's something that I have to do before I die? For me, I would say I would love to travel to every continent.
Okay.
I think it would be really cool to lay your feet on every continent on the planet.
I agree. And I want to learn the history. I want to learn everything
Yeah,
about it, too. I
for
love
sure.
history.
History is pretty amazing, and I wasn't that into it when I was younger.
Same.
But no, that's definitely something I've thought about, that I'm like, God, before I die,
Yeah.
I want to put my feet on the soil of every piece of land on this earth, at least every continent.
You should start a little like scrapbook and like actually take photos.
Wouldn't that be
Your
cool
bare
if my
like,
feet on the
grounding
ground?
here. Take a photo,
Totally.
get Alexis in the
But I think that would be something really cool to accomplish, would be to just try to put your feet on every continent on the planet. Like literally be on the entire planet before you leave it.
I love that.
You know?
Okay, you need to do that.
I know.
Start the scrapbook.
I know. So I've got Europe down.
Okay.
Been there. Australia will be one. We'll get there. I'll have to
Yeah.
do it.
Okay, I can't wait. So wait, so you have one? Do you have more than one sister, or do you
Two
have
older
one?
sisters.
Okay. Do you have any brothers?
I'm the baby.
You're the baby.
I'm the baby.
Oh.
So I have two older sisters. My sister Tracy lives in Manhattan. She is about to turn 60.
Okay.
We're gonna see them this summer in Sardinia. My sister and my brother-in-law both just turned 60. My sister Laurie used to live here. She lives in Atlanta now. She's a year and a half younger than me. I'm 55. And then there's me. So I'm 55, and Laurie's 56 and a half, almost 57 in December. They're great. My sisters are two of my best friends.
Aw.
We don't live near each other, which sucks.
Yeah.
We've always gotten along. When we were kids, I grew up in Georgia. When we were kids growing up in Georgia, there was, of course, like the butting heads time of our life that everyone has.
Aw.
But my sisters are just incredible people. They're both amazing. Would give you the shirt off their back kind of people.
Yeah.
Good sense of humor, fun, not uptight people. Like really, really cool. They're great.
I love that.
Yeah, they're awesome.
And I met one of your sisters.
Probably Laurie,
Yeah,
the redhead.
I met
Yeah,
her. She's so sweet.
she's
Yeah.
great. That girl, pure sugar.
Yeah.
She's got a good heart.
So, how do you think your sisters and your brother would describe you as a person?
My sisters and my brother. I don't have a brother.
Oh, I thought you said you had a.
No, I just have two older sisters.
Oh, just two older sisters. Oh,
How would they describe me
how
as
would
a
your
person?
sisters describe you then?
My sisters would probably say that I'm stubborn as
Okay.
hell, but a very kind, nice person. And I mean, my sisters would describe me as like a really kind human being who cares about other people, but is very stubborn.
Yeah, no, and that's fair because they know you inside
They
and
know
out,
me.
right?
I'm definitely stubborn.
Yeah, like that's how my brothers. They're like, Mel, you have the biggest heart in the world, but you are hard headed.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yep,
sure am.
that's me.
But I love you guys.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not sorry. Okay, what is something you are working on, and does it include a mic?
Ah. Yeah. So we're working on starting a podcast. I've had people ask me for so long to do one. And the world of social media was just so busy for me because as you edit all of your stuff, I was editing all of my content for the better part of 6 years. And I got really burned out about a year and a half ago or so where I just like couldn't scroll anymore. Making content became more work than it was fun.
Yeah.
I finally have found some help to offload some of that. But coming full circle, I think it's time for us to start a podcast. And I think it's my wife and I, Alexis, are going to do it together because I don't want it to just be a plastic surgery podcast. You know, we have our boys are on the spectrum of autistic spectrum. So we've raised two boys who are 16 now who are on the spectrum. Alexis and I have a wonderful marriage that, just like anyone else, has had its ups and downs. Personal struggles in our own lives that have had their ups and downs. And I just feel like we have a lot to offer the world as a couple in fitness, raising children, relationship, advice. Just there's so many things I want to share with the world. And of course, she's into the beauty and she's into all that stuff. So we'll talk about plastic surgery as well. So we're working on starting that podcast. I think it's time to do it. I know that so many people do it, but I just think it's time to pull the trigger and see if we can just be our authentic selves and just help other people with our conversations.
No, I agree. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm obviously going to listen in.
Thank you.
But you know what? And that's kind of why I started my podcast. You know, it's like everyone's like, is it about dental? Is it about media? Is it about models? I'm like, it's going to be about everything.
Yeah.
You know, like I just said, you're my first doctor on my podcast. You know, hopefully in a couple of weeks I'll have like a dentist or something else. But you know, these are my world. Like
we're people too, right?
Yeah.
Like we have lives outside of medicine. You know, we get dragged into the altruistic aspect of our lives that we take care of people, and that's like all we should do is take care of people. And people don't realize that we got to take care of ourselves too, and we have other things outside of our professions that make us the people that we are, and we want to share that with the world too. You know?
No, I agree, and it's fun. It's fun too.
It is.
And
I bet
being on the podcast, you know, and interviewing my friends, I feel like I've learned so much more about my friends. I've known you for years.
I know.
You know.
I will tell you what I like about your podcast, and I want to do the same thing. I don't think I can do the Zoom thing. I want in-person conversations.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like Zoom brings it. Yes, it gets you the guests and things like that. And sure, maybe when you're at a certain level. But in my opinion, I want to do all that I can to either grow my podcast to a place where someone's not worried about coming to town to be on it, or just do local podcasting where I just pull experts and great people from around Scottsdale and Phoenix area to come on the podcast.
Yeah.
But I love that you do yours live. I think it's the conversations when you're in person are very different.
Okay. Dr. Ricky Brown, if you were given a chance to go back in time and you could pick any year and you were promised to come back and you were just gone for only 24 hours to go back any year, what year would it be?
Ooh.
So hard.
1 year? Like a time period in life? Okay, so...
Maybe before your time too.
Oh, so any time in the past.
Yes, any year.
Dang.
That changes things, doesn't it?
That does change things.
I wouldn't even pick my own year.
What's that?
I wouldn't even pick my own year. I love history.
Like you'd pick something before?
Oh, yeah. But what would you pick, though?
I want to say that, like, in the spirit of you liking history, it would have been cool to go back to the time of civil rights when all of that stuff was unfolding, you know, with Kennedy and Martin Luther King, and just to like be present during that big change in life. It would have been really interesting to know what people were like back in the time of slavery and all that. Like, how did all that happen? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
You know, how did the world get to that place where we allowed all of that to happen? I think it'd be really cool to go back in early history around that time to just witness what the world was like then.
Ooh, that's a good one.
You know, like what, and like, are we coming back with the knowledge that we get from there? I don't know.
Yeah, why not?
So it would be interesting to go back into that time. I just think it would be, I just have always wanted to know what the generations were really like in other times outside of our generations and our world. So I think it'd be really cool to go back to their time of civil rights.
Yeah.
I would love to see what the world was like then.
And like that, I always think about that's a timeline I always think about as well. And then with Kennedy and like the whole Maryland
Oh yeah.
and all of that, and how did Maryland really die?
And also the Industrial Revolution around that time, right? Like all the things that we were creating them with cars and flying and like all the things that were happening. I think it'd be really cool to be a part of that.
I agree.
Yeah.
And someone told me that Kennedy, and of course, I don't even know what to believe anymore. And then
Yeah.
you have AI, so don't get me started.
Yeah.
They're like, aliens were brought up like during his time too, and like he knew about them and blah blah blah. And I was like, I mean, I don't know. Are you sure Kennedy did? But now I'm like, anything is possible.
We'll never know.
We'll
There
never
is so much that we are never going to know
Yeah.
that people know at that level in the government that it's just like I can't even listen to speculation anymore because
Yeah.
we're just never going to know. Because the people that release the rumors, it's like who really knows what they're talking about? Who has talked to who? Is it real? Is it not real? I don't put anything past this world, though. I will say that.
Yeah.
Like, is not religious as I am spiritual,
Same.
and I do believe that there's something much greater than us out there, right? The whole idea that we're the only life that exists in this whole place is just too far-fetched for me. So it makes sense to me that someone's made contact with our planet that we don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, and that doesn't even scare me. I'm like, heck yeah, they talk about there's life on other planets. Like, why is that so crazy to think?
So on the other side of your question about where would you want to go back to, I always think about where would I want to go forward to.
Ooh.
Going back would be cool, but I want to see what this place is like in 100 years. Is it still here? Is it not still here?
Yeah.
Like, I would be really interested to be alive 100 years from now and just see what this place is like what's happened with AI, what's happened with the world, what's happened with our government, what's happened with everything. Are we nuking and we're all gone?
Right.
Or are we still here and like things are cranking?
I would want to know too, and I'm a little like, it kind of terrifies me in some weird way too.
Yeah, well, because we see what's happening.
Yeah. Well, okay. Do you remember that like kid shows like Smart House or whatever, where the house was like taking over? Do you remember that?
I don't think so.
You were probably in school during that time, actually. You probably had no time for like TV shows on Disney or whatever it was. But it was like, you would watch like these movies and shows and you're like, wait, even like iRobot, like that's insane. That would never happen. And then the Smart House was like, the house was so smart. Like, we'd be like, hey, turn the light on, do this or that. Well, it like controlled the house and it kept the humans in the house. And like back then you're like, okay, like that's crazy. But now, and the day we
Yeah.
today, it's like, wait, those things could happen.
Totally. I mean, we're playing all this out right now, right? The Terminator, right? We're thinking like, holy cow, did they really foreshadow like where we're heading? And did someone know back then that this was coming and that the movies were made like on purpose? Like you could so go down the rabbit hole of what do we believe, what do we not believe?
It's so entertaining though.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so you did touch that you are spiritual, so am I.
Yes.
I've been more spiritual than religious in the last like few years.
Same.
I do believe there's like a higher power and a God in some way, but but that being said, let's just say one day you passed away and you were given a chance to come back to Earth for a different lifetime, right? Would you want to come back to
Yes.
Earth? Okay.
Yes.
And if you came back, then what would you come back as yourself, someone different? And if it was yourself, would you change anything?
I would come back as myself for sure because I like the person that I am.
Okay.
But I would come back if I'm coming back with the knowledge from when we grew up. I think when I go back to when I was young, there are so many things that I would do differently. Like I probably wouldn't have partied as much. I probably would have focused more on what innovative, creative things can I do for the world at a young age. I mean, there's some bit of innocence to that time where you're not doing that stuff. But I just feel like investing wisely, and there's so many things that I would have started at a young age that I didn't start at a young age. But also the idea that, wow, we could have so much more influence as a youngster than we knew that we could.
Yeah.
In the world we live in today, we know that. And it'd be really cool to go back to a younger time in life as yourself with the knowledge that we have now, because I think we would make such a bigger impact on the world at a younger age.
That's so true.
You know, like with the knowledge you have now, and I definitely would want to be me. I like who I
Yeah.
am. I like being me. It'd be easy to say, yeah, I would come back as a certain billionaire, millionaire actor or actress. I mean, it'd be really cool to be able to sing. Alexis and I were talking about this last night. Like, if you had the choice between being a famous actor or a singer, which one would you choose and why? For me, by far, it would be to be a gifted singer
Oh, same.
because I think singing just looks, when people have pipes, it's so moving.
Yes, like actual talent too.
Yeah, like
Wait,
real raw talent.
you could come back as yourself, but with a voice.
Yes.
Yes.
That would be amazing. If I could come back as myself and have a talented voice to be able to sing and make a career of that, I think that'd be really cool.
That would be amazing.
It'd be really
Ooh,
cool.
I like that one. I like
Minus
that
the
answer.
drugs and all the craziness. Like, I still want to be like a
Rock and
healthy,
roll life.
fit, clean person. But yeah, that'd be amazing.
That's amazing. Okay, what's some advice you would give to some up and coming surgeons that are just about to finish school?
That's a good question. Number one, hopefully they've already made the choice that they want to be a surgeon. So my advice would be, you need to make sure that without a question, this is what you want to do. And that's what I say about going into medicine in general. As a surgeon, the advice that I would give you is learn business management. You got to learn more about business. So you can't just be good at your craft. You also need to be savvy at business. I would also say that surgeons that are coming up now are going to have to learn AI. You're going to have to learn robotics. Robotics are going to start taking a humongous role, I think, in the world of surgery. I don't know that robots in the next 20 or 30 years, despite what Elon Musk says, are going to fully take over being surgeons, but at some point they probably will. So I think that one, as a young surgeon, you need to really take hold of technology because it's all around us and it's not going away. How can you make it work for you? Number two, make sure that being a surgeon is what you want to do. And I will tell you, it is a grind to become a good surgeon, to build a private practice. It is years and years and years of working hard. It doesn't happen overnight, doing good work, treating people right, having a good bedside manner. Those are all things that it's hard to teach, that you really have to really hold on to. You're building your career day by day, and it doesn't happen overnight. It just doesn't. And what's happened to me, I think happens to a lot of people, where we're affecting lives one at a time and we then grow into wanting to do something bigger.
Yeah.
So maybe go into surgery thinking about that. What happens one day when I'm getting tired of just taking care of people one at a time? Do I have like another iteration of my life after being a surgeon that I want to move into? And maybe do I give myself 15, 20 years to be a surgeon and then I'm going to launch into something else? Or is surgery going to be my end game? And if it is your end game, that's okay too.
Yeah.
But resilience, no one's going to give you anything. If there's one thing I could tell you, it's what I tell my children. No one is going to hand you anything. The world owes you nothing.
Yeah.
No one owes you a thing. You have to go out and get everything that you want and make it happen for yourself. And no one's going to give it to you. You don't get a trophy just to get a trophy.
Right. No, and that's the realest advice you can give somebody, because they probably, they could just go to your Instagram or your website and be like, wow, like this looks fancy and cool, and like this can't be that hard, but like you put in the work.
Yeah, I mean, the perception is that we all have money and we're all rich and we all have these great lives and we don't have problems. We all have problems. We all struggle. We all pull our pants on the same way every day.
Yep.
It's just that you learn from your failures.
Yep.
You grow from your failures. You make a pact with yourself that you're never going to give up, that you're going to keep going, and you don't expect anyone to give it to you.
Yeah. No, 100%. How long have you been a surgeon for now?
So I've been in private practice for 17 years in plastic surgery.
Okay.
But I did 6 years of general surgery before that. So I've been operating in the OR even as a resident since 2001.
That's crazy.
25 years. So on some scale, I've been operating, right? When I was in residency, we were learning how to operate, but we were operating on human beings. So
Yeah.
I've been operating since 2001,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
And how did you even know you wanted to do that? I don't think I've ever asked you that.
Yeah, interesting story. So when I finished all of my pre-med coursework, I had a year off because the way the application process works is usually you apply your junior year to med school, then you finish your senior year because you're interviewing for med school, and then you just go right into med school. Well, because I was a senior and took all my pre-meds, when I finished, I had a year off to apply. So I went home to Atlanta and I worked in an operating room, and I was an orderly, mopping floors, cleaning tables, wiping things up. And I'll never forget when I started peeking into OR rooms and like cleaning rooms, because everyone there knew I was going to med school. Yeah. So I'd kind of go into someone's room when things weren't busy, and I'd have a room to turn over, and I would just kind of stand over a neurosurgeon's shoulder and watch what they were doing.
So cool.
And slowly but surely they would be like, "Hey man, you're welcome in the OR anytime." And I just became so enamored with fixing things, with fixing people, with doing stuff with my hands. I'd always been a handy person.
Yeah.
So when I was in that year of my life, I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a surgeon. And I was like, I'm going to go to med school with the idea that I'm going to do the rotations. I'm going to give everything its due diligence. Maybe I changed my mind. But every time I went through a rotation, peds, OB, whatever, I was like, nope, 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 nope. And then I did my surgery rotation. I was like, yep, this is it. So I just knew that I would always been a very handy person with sports and just taking things apart and putting them together. I knew that that was going to be my thing. So I knew surgery was,
so cool.
Yeah, I just knew surgery was it. Like people are like, how do you deal with the blood and the guts? I'm like, I don't see that. I see the beauty of what the surgeon's doing in front of them, like how they're manipulating and fixing and crafting the body with their own hands. Just fascinated me.
No, for sure.
Blew me away.
And that's so cool, because like people, they'll ask me the same question, like, how do you know? And you're just like, and it takes stories like that. Like I was in high school.
You just know.
I thought I was going to be a nurse. And then I started like studying dental in high school, and I was like, wait, this is so fun. Like, and then I would go see my dentist, my childhood dentist, and I had ask him questions. Got him to talk questions. And I was like, wait, this is my career path, like not nursing, like I have so much respect for nurses, but I was like, you need to find something you have a passion for. And that was mine. And even more now, like, starting my dental hygiene line, like I want to spread awareness. Like I'm trying to make it cool so people actually brush their teeth and tongue scrape. And, you actually use my product. So I appreciate that.
I love the ice. It's awesome.
Yeah. And so, no, it is one of my careers. My patients are like, hey, don't forget about us. Don't one day just decide to quit being a hygienist because you're doing too much with your modeling or media. I'm like, I will never just like quit. Like my hands have to fall off, because I actually really have a passion for dental hygiene and helping people, and that's the reason why I do it.
So full circle back to the beginning of why you asked we stuck with you, it's that, right? Like I felt your passion for what you did. I knew that you weren't just clocking in and clocking out. I could tell that you had true passion for your craft and what you do, and I think that's what differentiates anyone and anything they do in the world. When you're passionate about something, people feel that energy. Like they know it's real for you. And that's all we want, is to feel connected to people who are connected to their thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
I appreciate that, Dr. Brown.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because a lot of people don't know me on that other side. So that's so great to hear. Where can our listeners find you on Instagram?
So it's Dr. Richard J. Brown. I've tried to change it, but I can't because when I got OG verified, and you can't change your name once you're verified, which is so annoying because I wanted Dr. Ricky so bad. But it's Dr. Richard J. Brown on Instagram, and you can get to all my other platforms from there. TikTok is the real TikTok doc, and I do have a YouTube channel as well. But that's the main place I am, is on Instagram. It's where I answer most of my DMs, even though TikTok is my biggest, crew of people. That's my largest following there. But Instagram just seems to be the place where I always kind of end up gravitating back to.
Right.
So that's the best place that people can find me.
And you guys will love his videos.
I appreciate that. It's funny because when I'm making them, I'm always like, is this video any good? Like, does this suck? I don't know. Like, we always question ourselves, right? Like, what's going to resonate with people and what's not. So I appreciate you saying that, because when I hear people say, the patients will come in and say, I love your videos. I'm like, thank you. How like someone likes them. Cool.
Oh, and you do it right, because like I'll like start laughing at something. So like, oh man, here we go. But then like right after you educate, and I'm like, oh wait, what the heck? So you get me hooked, and I'm like, wait a minute. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it, Dr. Brown.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Well, I'm so excited you came on the mic today. I appreciate your support as always. And I cannot wait to hear about your podcast in the future.
Thank you. We'll have you on. It'll be a blast.
Woo! Thank you so much, Dr. Brown.
The place blow up.